Okay, so let's go through the salaries and wages part of the budget configuration. So basically there are two active tiles that are related to salaries and wages and the payroll data, and that is the salaries expense, where the actual budget value and the GL representation of the actual budget payroll data is provided. There is also the piece which is payroll data, which is the actual payroll employees related to that particular project and related to that particular natural account expense sitting in the salaries expense. So, as an example here, I have two employees, John Academic and Jane Professional. They're on particular awards. They have an annual fraction. They have increments. They have profile hours. They have a base salary, and then they have a phased salary throughout the periods of the financial year. They also have calculated leave loading, calculated on costs to get to a total salary cost. So what the end result of this is, their total salary cost is allocated across the 12 periods. Once these are actually calculated in here, we would do a recalculate. Once we do a recalculate and save this, the salary expense gets allocated up into the particular categories of salary expense that are sitting underneath the general ledger account codes. So 173 and 126. We should have total cost 173 and 126. So as you can see, the information rolls up into the general ledger automatically. This allows you to budget at a payroll level, and then it will roll it up into the salary expense related to the actual employee. So there's a couple of things that you can do at the payroll data level, and take into consideration that when the payroll data is driving the expense, you get these little eyes, little information signs. What it says is that this information is coming from the payroll data, and the payroll rule is pushing the data up into the salary expense, and the rule breakdown will explain to you where the actual data is coming from. So that record there has an identifier, and that identifier relates to the payroll data record that is feeding the information. So right now, the only way that you can modify the 20101 account code is to add employees to that particular type of salary in the employee data tab. So I can modify existing information so that the data that I have here is representative of the data that that I'm going to use for my budget next year. So I can edit this. I could change my annual fraction for Jane Professional to 0.6. And then what I will find is that my subsequent values will reduce in value down to a 0.6 of a FTE. If I was to save those changes, total salary 77,074, and it's 77,074. The other thing you can do from the payroll base side of things is you can actually edit and you can use this to create a new employee. So what you have to do is you have to select Entity, Project, and when we're doing these, we just expand these details so that we can see what's going on. So 209.120.111.9999. And then I want to put in an academic, so 20101. Employee ID, well, I haven't got one, so I'll say new 209120. I will call them last name user, preferred name new. I will pick out an award step that I'm comfortable with, so it'll be an AC something for academic. So we'll take an academic level A. I'll give them a annual fraction of 1. Organization and department I don't need to worry about. A start date of today. A planned end date of, let's call it December 2099. So continuing contract, no increment date. I will continue into org unit, so I'll give that 175 the same as the others. I will copy this down into here. Portfolio, same deal. Faculty, same deal. Unit, same deal. And school, no allowances. No reporting. Fraction, no termination. And what I've got there after I save the changes is a newly generated employee in this particular project. So if I go to salary expense, what I should find is academic salaries. I have an additional user, but as you can see, it's 228,300. Oh, sorry, 228,300. That seems like a pretty reasonable number if we were going to add our academics together. So if I was to click and drag this up in natural account, and I was to have a look at my academic salaries continuing, and I was to go to my total salary, 291,082. What you can also see here is that the on costs are calculating as per the formula of the academic salaries continuing. Same for the professional salaries. The on costs are calculating representative to the salaries professional.